Welcome to CBC Windsor News at 6. I'm Meg Roberts. Thanks so much for spending part of your evening with us tonight. Premier Doug Ford was in the area today announcing millions of dollars for highway projects. Plus, the contract that covers how doctors get paid expires at the end of the month. Physicians are arguing that compensation is a root cause of doctor shortages. And maybe one of the best ways to view the solar eclipse next month from the water. We speak with a business owner eager to get people off the mainland. A fix is on the way for a notorious intersection in Windsor's East End. Banwell and EC Row is set to transform thanks to tens of millions in new money from the provincial government. Premier Doug Ford made the announcement during a visit to the region today. CBC's Chris Ensing was there.
Well, folks, shovels are in the ground just a few meters away from here.
The Premier highlighting work along Highway 3, where the final phase of widening to 4 lanes starts this summer. The province twinning the highway for the 17,000 vehicles that commute through Essex County each day. It will cost $136 million and be complete by 2027.
To me, you can't put a price tag or a value on of giving people the confidence to be able to drive, on this highway.
And for the other side of Windsor-Essex, relief promised for drivers at a notorious intersection.
We're also announcing a $50 million investment to build a new interchange at Banwell Road and EC Row Expressway in Windsor.
I'm ecstatic. This is an incredible level of support for a project like this, and it will be amazing to see that intersection completely reconstructed to a point where it now flows properly and helps support that incredible factory that's being built at that corner.
The city has laid the groundwork over the years with an environmental assessment already complete, staff earmarking $8.5 million in its capital budget to start building the interchange this year, spending $2 million to get the project started. Today's announcement moves it to the front of the line with a goal of completing it before the end of 2026.
We're going to completely shift gears, try and get this project going ASAP, get the design done. It was already underway. However, we're going to have to really accelerate the project from a design construction point of view. We've got some safety issues there. We've got some traffic issues there, and this will be a game changer from a traffic point of view in that particular area of the city.
This project, in addition to a previously announced interchange connecting Highway 401 and Lausanne Parkway, it also aims at helping ease traffic expected to arrive with the completion of the new battery plant and the 2,500 jobs attached to the project.
I feel like Santa Claus to this mayor. I've given him more presents than anyone in Ontario.
There's still items left on the mayor's Christmas list. When asked about Dilkin's wish that the province take on the EC Row Expressway and its $10 million yearly maintenance costs, Ford said that still needs to be talked about. Chris Ensing, CBC News, Windsor.
Today, Premier Ford was also asked about a timeline for a Safe Points application. The consumption and treatment site, which allows drug users to use in a safe space, closed in January and its funding was left in limbo. That's after the province announced it would conduct a review following a fatal shooting near a site in Toronto.
In total, we said there'd be 21 sites. We're at 17. There's 4 more to go. It's actually funny you say that. I was speaking in my office today about that. They're going to complete the review, and then we'll be able to get moving on that. But it's important for the community, and if it's important for the community, then we'll get it done. But shouldn't be too much longer.
Exactly 4 weeks away now from that total solar eclipse, and anticipation is growing. The celestial phenomenon will be observable from parts of Essex County, and according to local charter operators, one of the best spots to view will be from the water. The CBC's Dalton Chen has more.
Astronomers agree that Essex County will be a prime viewing area for the total eclipse next month, and our region won't see the same phenomenon again for 375 years. That's why a couple of local boats have arranged special charters for the occasion. Both the Pelee Islander 2 ferry and the Mikasa Bay River Cruise boat are taking people for eclipse watching on April 8th.
The response has been great. We've had great feedback, and the cruise is 90% sold out. A few tickets remain, but we've had a great response back from the community. The Mikasa Bay will provide a great platform. We have an open deck on the vessel, And of course, we're going to have solar eclipse glasses that we're going to be providing to all of our passengers.
The Macassa Bay usually doesn't start its Detroit River sightseeing cruises until May. Next month's special trip with commentary costs adults $55 and children $30. 140 passengers will go from Amherstburg's Navy Yard Park to the western basin of Lake Erie. Meanwhile, Pelee Islander 2's eclipse watching trip is already sold out. 300 passengers will travel on the ferry from Leamington to Pelee Island's western dock to witness the celestial event. Adults paid $15 and kids under 5 signed up for free. Tom Sabokin, spokesperson for the Windsor Centre of the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada, says observers on the water will get to experience the greatest duration of totality. That's the phenomenon of the moon completely obscuring the sun.
The further you go into Lake Erie, the longer the time you'll have of totality, probably somewhere between 2.5 and 3 minutes of totality. What it will look like is something that you've never seen before in your life. The sky will be kind of dark, but the horizon will be lit all the way around. Not from Windsor, not from LaSalle, not from Lakeshore, but certainly from Colchester Harbor, where our astronomy club is going to be. We're also going to be in Kingsville and at Point Pelee and at Jack Miners.
Boat trips aren't the only special local events being organized for the eclipse. The region's tourism bureau has more viewing parties and gatherings listed in a solar eclipse guide.
You know, science is fun. Everybody loves to see astronomy's fun. And this is just something to participate in. And we're very fortunate to have it happening in this region.
The Tourism Bureau is even issuing free branded ISO-approved eclipse watching glasses for the occasion. More than 2,000 pairs have been given away so far. You can learn more about the eclipse at the Astronomical Society's free information session at the Ojibwe Nature Center on March 19th. Dawson Chen, CBC News, Windsor.
Statistics show that ambulance response times were much better last year than previous ones, a positive sign after a disturbing trend. The time Essex Windsor EMS spent in code black was down 24% last year as compared to 2022. A code black occurs whenever there is no available ambulances to respond to an emergency situation. In 2022, Essex County Council declared the issue an emergency, with the EMS chief at the time saying he'd never seen the local healthcare system in such a state of crisis. The new chief, Justin Lammers, says the service is on the right path and is noticing some changes. Lammers also says that a new community assessment triage team is helping keep people out of the hospital by about 57%. The team of paramedics can treat less serious calls without having to admit them to hospital. There does continue to be an increase in patient offload delays. That's because paramedics must stay with patients while they're being admitted. The EMS chief says they're trying to make improvements in 2024. They were able to decrease the offload program by about 75% last month. More than 2 million people in this province do not have a family doctor, and that number is forecasted to roughly double in the next few years. Some physicians say a key factor is what family doctors get paid compared with all the costs of running a practice. Our senior reporter covering Queen's Park, Mike Crawley, has the story.
Hi, Joanne.
Hi, how are you?
Dr. Mehele Kumanen practices in Cambridge. She has been a family doctor for 15 years.
There's so much that I love about being a family physician.
Fewer and fewer med school graduates seem to feel the same way, with the number of people choosing to specialize in family medicine dropping every year. Plus, a growing number of family doctors are either retiring early or opting to work in other fields.
Family physicians truly are small business owners. And so I think a lot of family physicians are just looking at the numbers and not feeling that this is a sustainable option for them to continue in practice.
There are now more than 5,000 fully qualified family doctors in Ontario who are not practicing family medicine full-time.
We need to try and encourage these people to get back into a comprehensive care family practice as much as possible.
Let me check those little eyes.
So why this reluctance? Many say it's a financial thing, that family doctors' earnings are being eroded by inflation.
We have to pay the bills, and if compensation hasn't kept pace with the rising costs of running a business, it becomes quite a challenge.
Ontario has two systems for paying family doctors. In the model called capitation, the doctor gets a flat fee for each patient on their roster that varies by age and sex. For a male patient in his early 60s, the doctor gets about $250 a year. In the fee-for-service model, OHIP pays the family doctor for each procedure, and for the most commonly billed office visit, the doctor gets $38.
I got a haircut yesterday, and it cost me $40.
Family doctors have to pay their staff and office costs out of their OHIP fees.
You get to the point where you will have to contemplate whether you'll be able to continue on in that field or you'll have to pivot to something else.
Another factor, family doctors say they now have less time to see patients because they're stuck spending more and more time on administrative tasks, medical paperwork that they don't get paid for.
Paperwork is a huge source of burnout. That needs to be fixed because there are a lot of inefficiencies, a lot of duplication, a lot of things that gets dumped on us in terms of administrative work.
The Ontario Medical Association is bargaining with the government now on the contract that covers how nearly all doctors in this province get paid. Compensation for family doctors is firmly in the spotlight.
What we need to do is make sure that physicians' real income keeps pace with inflation, just at a fundamental level.
We asked the Premier, are you willing to pay family doctors more?
I want to thank all the doctors out there. You're all absolute champions, and we'll be able to come up with a great deal.
Some doctors are hoping the Ford government makes a deal like the one reached in British Columbia. That province now pays family physicians for medical admin work, things like doing referrals or reviewing lab results. And in the years since that began, 700 more physicians have opened family practices. Mike Crawley, CBC News, Toronto.
Student nutrition programs from across the province are finding ways to stretch their funding, which includes giving less food.
We are hearing from programs that they're having to cut their food that they're serving, so less food, less days, and bigger waiting lists. It's a crisis situation.
Advocates say given the higher cost of groceries, more families are relying on these programs. They're asking the province to double its current investment in student nutrition programs from $32 million to $64 million. Can you believe it? 4 years ago today, the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 a global pandemic. The infection has since killed more than 58,000 Canadians, and while the severe peak of the pandemic has passed, there are still hundreds dying every month. Experts say vaccine boosters remain a crucial protection, especially among the older population. Lauren Pelly reports.
COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
4 years after that declaration from the World Health Organization, COVID is still on many Canadians' minds.
It doesn't feel like it was 4 years ago, but I mean, I'm happy that we are where we are.
I think that was a very powerful impact on people's life.
I just don't want to get sick. I got races to run, so just can't get sick.
Researchers say staying up to date on COVID vaccines remains one of the best ways to protect yourself. And a new American study suggests more frequent vaccination for high-risk populations like older adults and anyone immunocompromised could help reduce the burden of severe illness.
It becomes less about the number of doses you've gotten and more about the time since your last vaccine dose or infection.
The study's co-author says protection wanes over time, leaving higher-risk groups more vulnerable.
If you just look at the data on severe disease and who's being hospitalized and dying right now, it's almost the same pattern that's been present the entire pandemic. And I think that's quite striking.
Canada's overall COVID death rates have dropped dramatically since 2020, but older age groups are still bearing the brunt, with 9 in 10 total deaths among those aged 60 and up.
I think we'll see new guidance.
This Canadian immunologist expects a spring vaccine push here for higher risk groups, since COVID is still circulating year-round, at least for now.
I suspect we'll get to a place where it's more seasonal than it has been.
Scientists do remain hopeful that COVID will become less of a threat over time, but for now, it's still sending some Canadians to hospital and leaving others with lasting health impacts. Official guidance from Canada's national vaccine advisors: high-risk Canadians can get another spring dose. Lauren Pelly, CBC News, Toronto.
When the Windsor Star closed its printing press a year ago, its archive of more than 300,000 photos was left without a home. But that extensive and exceptional collection is now part of the City of Windsor's municipal archives. CBC's Mike Evans joined archivist Michael Fish to get a look at those photos, some dating back more than 100 years.
Bulk of the collection is municipal records. Probably about 15% is private collections. And this is obviously the Windsor Star is housed. So we don't have a date, but it looks like this was taken around 1920s. And these are the gentlemen they're creating the wording for the print. But I just like the look of this and the fact that they are all these typewriters and that would create these lead letters. All these are photographs, the print photographs. We have 57 cabinets of print photographs. We estimate there's approximately about 300,000 photographs, the bulk being post-World War II. Well, with the Windsor Star closing their selling their printing plant, they need to get rid of, which is where all the stuff was housed. They need to find a home for it. They reached out to the Museum Windsor, see if they could house it there. The museum was full. The curator of the museum contacted me and said if I had space for 30, 40 file cabinets of photographs. And yes, this was all available at that time. It's wide-ranging. There's photographs of politicians, of events around the world that are in part of this collection as well. It's not just Windsor-related. It's anything that was in the Windsor Star.
What do you say we do something fun? I'll pick a random Windsor historical name and we can go to the file cabinet and try to find an image on that person. Herb Gray. What do you say?
Gray,
what
Mr.
do we
Gray.
have for Herb Gray?
There's lots. We have 3 file folders.
Oh,
Mr. Gray.
Okay.
Herbert Gray, up to 1970. This one doesn't have a file label. There we go. 1971 to 1989, and then 1990 and after. You can't put a price on what's here, right? It's just this is Windsor's history right here.
Daylight savings definitely had me waking up on the tired side this morning, but it's all worth it to see that nice sunny sky after 6 p.m. We have your weather forecast coming up after the break. gorgeous start to the week, perfect for everyone celebrating the start of Ramadan. Colette Kennedy is off this week. Victor Paulo is here with your weather forecast.
Happy March break, Meg, and happy March break to all of our viewers. A couple things to note when it comes to our weather here in Windsor over the next 48, 72 hours. Well, it's going to be a clear night, a beautiful night if you love to stargaze. And another thing we're going to be expecting across Windsor for the next about 48 hours, well, it's going to be almost summer-like heat. It's going to be a nice little bit of temperatures, which is going to remind us that summer is just around the corner and all of the beautiful things we can experience. Now, there's going to be some rain as we get closer to our weekend. So if you are someone who's hoping to take plans of some outdoor activities, highly suggest the next 48 hours be the best time to do that. Now, here's what it's looking like when it comes to highs for today across the region. Well, of course, Windsor, the leader across a lot of the areas with 10 degrees. Everywhere else close to kind of the mid 5-degree level from Toronto all the way to Ottawa and Kingston. But over here in Windsor, let's talk about what we're going to be expecting over the next 48 hours. Well, it's not a lot of cloud cover is going to be over us. And also without that cloud cover, there's no precipitation in our forecast either. At least up until Thursday, we're not expecting anything to fall. Tuesday is going to be a beautiful sunny day, as well as Wednesday is going to be another sunny day. Taking a look at the area here, well, we can see that there's no cloud cover really coming across anywhere as well. And also there's no precipitation either. So you can also see as we get closer towards your Wednesday here on the map. And here's another thing to look at when it comes to your long-term forecast. Well, as like talked about Tuesday, 19-degree day, getting closer to Wednesday, still closer to almost 20 degrees. But as we get closer to Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we talk about those temperatures dropping in the wake of all of that rain. But speaking of that rain, let's take a look at our 3- and 5-day forecast for the Windsor region. Well, it's going to be a beautiful Tuesday and almost 20 degrees on Wednesday. Those overnight lows are staying honest but still mild. But then looking at our Thursday and Friday, we're expecting some precipitation to pass by. Now, as we talked about, once that rain does pass through, we can see the lows drop down to single digits, as well as our highs get down closer to near single digits. But the good news is here, for those celebrating March break, for those hoping to get outside and enjoy the beautiful weather, Tuesday and Wednesday will be the perfect time to be outside and enjoy that time you might not be in the classroom. Hope you all have yourselves a great night, and over to you, Meg.
Yeah, everyone off on March break right now is going to be pretty pleased with part of that forecast. Thanks so much for that, Victor. Missed the Oscars last night? We got you covered. A wrap-up of the evening coming up after the break. Sweden's flag now flies at NATO headquarters in Brussels. The alliance is welcoming its 32nd member 2 years after Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
Today, as we raise the Swedish flag, we stand together in unity and solidarity, committed to protect and defend each other, all for one and one for all.
The Nordic country entering the decades-long neutrality. Both Sweden and Finland sought NATO membership following Vladimir Putin's decision to launch a full-scale Russian attack on Ukraine in 2022. Swedish and Finnish forces have often trained together in the past. Now the membership helps integrate the troops more deeply into the military alliance. The glitz and glamour of the 96 Academy Awards is now in the rearview mirror, but Hollywood is still basking in the afterglow of its biggest night. Oppenheimer dominated the competition at the Oscars, winning 7 awards, including Best Picture. Here's CBC's Eli Glasner with a look at some of the night's highlights.
At the Oscars in Los Angeles, the two big stories were the triumph of Oppenheimer winning in 7 categories and the surprisingly strong performance of Poor Things starring Emma Stone. But let's go back to Oppenheimer, which won in some of the biggest categories, including Best Picture, Best Director for this amazing film directed by Christopher Nolan, Best Actor for Cillian Murphy becoming Oppenheimer, and Best Supporting Actor from Robert Downey Jr., who, as always, very amusing in his acceptance.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks, fellas. That's amazing. You only flubbed one line. I'd like to thank my terrible childhood and the Academy, in that order.
Now, as I mentioned, Poor Things did very well at the Oscars, winning in 4 categories, including a very surprising win in the Best Actress category. Many thought that Lily Gladstone would make history, winning Best Actress for her performance in Killers of the Flower Moon, but instead, it was Emma Stone performing as Bella Baxter in this film, which actually took home the award for Best Actress, and you can see even Emma herself seemed very surprised.
Oh boy, this is really overwhelming. Sorry, okay. And my voice is also a little gone. Whatever. The women on the stage, you are all incredible, and the women in this category.
There was only one Canadian win at the show, and that was Ben Proudfoot for co-directing The Last Repair Shop, but that's actually Ben's 2nd Oscar award. He's already won previously. And if you're a fan of Barbie, well, Barbie only won 1 award, but we did get to see our very own Ryan Gosling performing as Ken in a fantastic musical number which featured Gosling, Slash on guitar, and an army of dancing and singing Kens, sending off the Ken character in style. Eli Glasner, CBC News, Los Angeles.
A dog show in England has settled the age-old question of who's a good boy, for this year at least.
There are some very special dogs here.
There we are.
It is Viking. It's the Australian Shepherd.
This Australian Shepherd named Viking has been crowned the best at this year's Crufts Dog Show. The second prize was snagged by Zen, a Jack Russell Terrier. The famous annual competition allows different breeds to show off their abilities and skills. Nearly 20,000 dogs competed during the 4-day event in Birmingham. Well, that's it for CBC Windsor News. Don't forget, for news anytime, you can go to our website at cbc.ca/Windsor. Thanks so much for tuning in. Looking forward to seeing you back here tomorrow night.